Jimmy Bay.
In every respect, in every department here, it's quite honestly quite overwhelming, I must say, because there's the illustrious company with us here being, honorees this evening, is the sheer depth and profundity of the music that was shown last night. To actually be part of that and to actually be spoken about in the way that we've heard, even from Nigel Tufnell. but I fully understand here, without any doubt, what a contribution I've made to music and what it's meant to you guys, and I'm just really thrilled. I'm really thrilled because music has so much power across so many avenues, but to be in a position where you've done the thing that you're pretty much best at, which is making music and bringing joy and pleasure to other people, it can't be really much better than that, can it? And I pass that on to all of you. Congratulations with your degrees and lots of success in the future. Thank you very much.
I say what? Ho, this is Brian. Call me Sweet Tea. No, call me Addicted to Love. No. Call me Sweet Tea Gardner. Coming to you from Ramble On Tower's Dungeon Studio in scenic Hespeler, Ontario. And you are listening to Ramble On Radio, episode 59. Ramble On Radio is the only dedicated Led Zeppelin podcast on this or any other known internets. Be sure to go to rambleonradio.com for all your Led Zeppelin news and any links I might mention during the show. And you can subscribe to Ramble On Radio through iTunes, so you get this automatically on your phone or whatever you use. And if you go to iTunes, just leave a review, a rating and a review, and it helps. It helps keep it in the. Put it into the charts and kind of keep it active. You can listen on Spreaker. That's Spreaker.com. And if you listen on Spreaker, follow me. I believe it's I am Brian. Damn it. But just follow along, and that kind of the more people who follow, the more people it gets put in front of. And check out I am Brian. Damn it on YouTube, and you can. If you go there, you can listen to the podcast on YouTube. Also, follow Ramble On Radio on Facebook, Google+, and at Ramble On Blog on Twitter. So I'm a little peeved, and this is I have no business being peeved, and this is the whiny section of the show. But they did a listening party in New York. They did a listening party with the new albums, the 3 new albums, and they invited lots of people along. And they did one in London, and my pal Dave Lewis, who belongs there, by the way. This is not what I'm saying. He should be there. He got an invite, and he's now out there reviewing the new material that he got a chance to hear. He's reviewing the albums that he got a chance to hear. Me, I got nothing. Nobody contacted me. Warner Brothers, I contacted them. I looked for whatever I could get. Not even so much as a reply email, which is at its worst is ignorant. California Breed sent me their PR firm did send me a review copy, which we're going to get to later on today. I asked about an interview or something, and they said they would pass that on to the band's management, which was promptly ignored, not so much as a by your leave email. And Jason Bonham is rolling through town next weekend, and there's no such thing as passes to be had because Mr. Bonham is with family. So, and again, contacted them last time out. I did a big piece on the band itself, and I got contacted by some people within Bonham that they really linked to the piece and they really liked the piece. And did I have any pictures? I replied, well, pictures with watermarks. I want pictures with watermarks. Nothing with watermarks, I'm afraid to say. But I kind of had a little conversation there about that. And then, so I got back in touch with them. I'm looking for an interview. Not so much as a reply. Not so much as a sorry about your luck. So I'm feeling peevish. Feeling like, I don't know what I'm feeling like. Just a little pissed off that right across the board, nobody within this organization, this band, there's one podcast out there. When I say in the intros, the only Led Zeppelin podcast, I'm not kidding. This is it. I'm the only guy who gets every week, sits down and does this. And I don't do it for stuff. I don't do it so I'll meet Jimmy Page. I don't do it so I get free albums. I don't expect free albums. But you expect to be included in the review material. That's a minimum. And to give you, like I said, a while ago, I got Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road for review for another blog I write that has some music and some other stuff. And I do some music. I do a Sunday music piece on it. That's all I do. This week I got Kiss 40, it'd be the 40 greatest hits of 40 years of Kiss, blah 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 blah, and they're releasing it on CD at the end, and I'll be reviewing that. Because my poncy little blog that nobody pays any attention to is good enough for Kiss to review, but my Led Zeppelin podcast, it just makes no sense to me, you know. It would have been such an easy thing to do. And Jimmy Page said in an interview today, I think, that he pays attention to everything that's going on. So, which leads you to believe they're aware. They're aware that I'm out here doing this. So anyway, if you're looking for advanced information about the albums, about the material, sorry, you just listen to the only Led Zeppelin podcast on the internet. That's all you listen to. So there's no reason to believe you will get that information here. And that's kind of what this is about. You know, we're trying to get information out here. I'm trying to help get information out. They want information out there. And but anyway, you know what? As long as thisgirlattheparty.com wasn't invited to the listening party, which isn't a sure thing, I'll be okay. I'll get over it. But yeah, I'm a bit peeved, and it's going to come out. So this again, it's been another busy week. It's been one of those weeks. There's been some interviews, and I have been sort of the loop on these interviews. They pop up, and I kind of have a peek at them, and stuff come, and there's like I got my phone in my hand right now. I've got interviews on that that I've kind of peeked at. There was one in Jimmy's, and Jimmy's all over the place. Jimmy's been doing them. There was a story this week. Now, a fellow met Jimmy Page record shopping in Boston this week and claims that Jimmy said to him, he said, this is a quote, he said, Robert Plant was difficult and miserable. It continues to say, I know he wants to do his own thing, but it's disrespectful to all our fans to go out and tour. And this guy also got a sign. He's got his picture with Jimmy and a signed coda. So we believe he met him. It's credible. He's signing his stuff in the record store. You can see it. So did he say that? Did he say Plant is miserable, and difficult and miserable? He might be. He puts on a good, the happy face kind of guy, but every once in a while something comes out that makes you think he might be a little bit miserable, don't you think? I think, by the way, I've seen this week. I think there's a bit of a Robert backlash starting. I think. Now, there's always been a bit of a negative Robert side in the Led Zeppelin fandom, and reasonable so, because he doesn't want to do what everybody else wants him to do. But this week, in the Rolling Stone interview we talked about last week, he makes the crack that he is not a jukebox. And I've just seen some stuff online from, where you don't normally see it necessarily. People saying, basically get over yourself, that it is disrespectful, that And I saw somebody say, I was planning on going to see him this summer. I think I'll take a pass now. But the other thing is, like, that's a lie. He is a jukebox. His last show, what did he do that wasn't... 3 or 4 of the songs were different, were new songs. Everything was, not all Led Zeppelin songs, but so In the Moods from 40 years ago. Even the stuff he did a couple songs from Mighty Rearranger. That's 10 years ago now. And they're doing basically the album version, basically doing note for noter. So it's not true that he's not a jukebox. He's just not a Led Zeppelin only jukebox. And if he wants to, if he wants to sing Fixin' to Die, and what was the song about Maggie? There was, I'm sure the guys in the band would do those songs. We can say, I want to throw this song into the set list. Even though Led Zeppelin never did, I'm sure they'd say, you know what, if that's what it takes to get you on the road, Robert, we'll do that. We'll do that song. So the idea that what he's doing now is, okay, now I'm not being a jukebox, whereas I would be if I was. It's just, it's silly. But beyond that, like I said, it seems to have been. There seems to be a bit of a backlash going on, and it's funny that for years he said stuff like that, but that is one that seems to have really stuck in people's craw a bit. So anyway, something to watch for. So, let's say more than that. It may just been a few things I noticed that I picked up. But if you're out there checking the internet or whatever, watch for that and see. It may be so. There may be starting to be a bit of a Robert backlash coming. We will see. The intro. You heard the intro. That was Jimmy at Berkeley College of Music. I think it is, getting his doctorate in music, and that was his little spiel. It's not the greatest recording, and he doesn't really say anything significant. But I played it for you anyway. What were the other? There's 2 other interviews that came up today. I haven't even looked at. One's on classic rock. Jimmy talking about the remasters. So yeah, this classic rock interview, it's actually excerpts from a radio interview, Team Rock Radio, and he really just talks about digging through the archives, and he says one of the things he says, I'm not obsessed by my past. If that's a criticism you have, it's not true. The other thing is, Tight But Loose has. He did go to one of the listening parties. He went to the one in London a couple of weeks ago, but was unable to report on doing so until today. And he's reporting on the songs that he heard there. They did hear. There's a few things to go through, but I have picked up a very little of this stuff. But the Gallows Pole apparently, that's on Led Zeppelin 3, does not have the banjo or the mandolin in. It's just the bass track of the guitar. It should be interesting enough, I suppose. We'll see where it goes. I'm really mixed on these. I'm interested in the 3 because of the Since I've Been Loving You and because it's got the Keys to the Highway. But the rest of it, last week we talked a bit about the Whole Lot of Love, and I've listened to it a couple of times since, and it's just, it's okay. It's interesting from a historical standpoint, but whether it needs a whole album of that stuff, I'm not convinced. So 2 is the one I'm least interested in. 1 with the live stuff. I've said this before. I'm interested, very interested. 3 intrigues me, but I still wonder whether it's worth spending $35 or $40 to get the stuff on album or CD, or even $15 to get the songs on iTunes. But we will see. We will see. The other thing is Jimmy's he did a sit-down interview today with Carol Miller, from Get the Lead Out Radio. And apparently what we're hearing is he's going to be doing 6 episodes, or she's going to be cutting the interview into 6 episodes. So she'll talk a bit, and then what she does is she kind of talks, tells a story, and then throws in a clip of the interview. So that's probably what will happen. I doubt it's a 6-hour talk with Jimmy Page. It's probably a 45-minute talk, but they seem to have, apparently they've edited it into 6 episodes, but they'll be running the next while. He was not on the Tonight Show, as we talked about last week. It got canceled, but he did go on the Tonight Show, and he did record a bit. He did record an interview. It just didn't go Monday night, so they will play that some point in the near future. And finally, Robert canceled some more shows. First, he added 2 shows in New York, September 27, 28. Then he canceled Russia, then Spain. And I read somewhere, and I haven't been able to follow this one up either, that the whole summer tour was canceled. Is that right? Did that happen? So I don't know what's going on. The Spain ones, they were talking about scheduling conflicts. And my first thought was, well, wait a minute, you booked these shows 3 months ago. It's like 6-7 months in advance. Now there's a scheduling conflict? Didn't make sense. Yeah, they're still just saying the Spanish date's postponed. I thought I heard the summer dates right off the board somewhere. But yeah, the Spanish dates are postponed. But what conflict came? Oh, here we go. July 24th at the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao. July 26th in Lamar de Musicas in Murcia. July 27th at Plaza de Torres in Malaga. July 29th, excuse my really bad Spanish accent, by the way. July 29th, Palacio de Deportes in Madrid. And July 31st, the Cap Rogue Festival in Girona. Those dates have all been canceled. And due to scheduling conflicts, that's just weird to me. That's been a couple of months that's been on. So, 6 months early they announced the shows, and then there's suddenly scheduling conflicts. Seems a bit off to me. They will be doing their Osaka and Tokyo dates, August 16 and 17, including the Summer Sonic Festival, apparently. Anyway, that's what's happening with Mr. Robert. But yeah, 2 dates in New York, September 27, 28. All right, and then we get on to California Breed. It's time for California Breed. I wish I had some clips to play you. I did ask for some clips, but I got none. So here's the one of the things I got a review of. It'll go up in the next day or two. I kind of have to look over it carefully because it's not the best review in terms of my opinion of the album. This has been a funny one for me. I don't like reviewing something I don't like, and I really had a hard time writing a review for it. And you're trying to like, I'm trying to be good, and I'm trying to be the friendly guy, and I'm trying to like it, and I'm trying to write this review, and I'm getting nowhere with it. I'm 120 words into it. It stopped. I just stalled. And then yesterday I kind of, sat down with myself, as it were, poured a cup of coffee, and came to the conclusion that I don't really like this album very much. I don't think it's very good. And that's why I'm having a hard time writing a review. And sure enough, as soon as I sat down with that thought in mind, the review flew. And it flew because now I was being honest with myself. I was being honest with you. So, that's, I guess, what you really need to know. It was at the point, you listen to something when you're reviewing it 4, 5, 6 times, 2 or 3 sometimes, because sometimes you put it on and a couple of songs get you. I would kind of go backwards in my head, go, okay, I want to go over this. I don't remember a single song, or I remember Sweet Tea, and I remember Midnight Oil, and that's, what are these other songs? I have no idea what these songs are. So I've listened to it about 10 times, and I still, some of these songs are, they have done nothing for me. They've not sat in my brain. They've not earwormed me. Nothing. It's just, and the problem is, this is a very heavy album, very heavy rock album, with no subtlety whatsoever, with no, well, I shouldn't say none whatsoever, but with too much of it lacking in subtlety, lacking in anything other than plow ahead rock and roll. Plow ahead rock, no roll. Lots of rock, no roll. And there's a series of songs. It's the first, it starts with one of those songs. It's just a hard rock. Now, if it was a song or two like that, by the way, this is a hard rock and typical kind of Glenn Hughes song, Black Country Communion. Except what the difference is with Black Country Communion, Joe Bonamassa added some real melodic subtlety in here. That's badly missing. It's really, the songs become a lot less interesting because of it. It's that light and shade kind of issue almost. Bonamassa clearly added some shade that is missing completely from this album. So let's go through song by song, and I just have little one sentence notes on so in some cases I may be The Way, which is just a hard rock and typical Hughes, kind of one of those poundy songs, which is fine. Good way to start the album. Sweet Tea is next, which I'm sorry, to my ear is too close to Addicted to Love. Now I haven't listened to the two side by side. Maybe I'm way wrong on that, but too close. Chemical Rain is one of the ballads. There's 3 ballads, 2 of which are done pretty much exclusively on electric guitar. A fairly well distorted guitar. And I've been trying to think of a comparative. I can't really do so, although it's not an uncommon. In the 70s, lots of bands did this. To a lesser degree, Thank You does this. Although it's a cleaner sounding guitar, this is quite distorted again. But maybe that idea of the ballad with... See, you've been talking about the album, I'm yawning. But anyway, the ballad's not bad. Like I say, 70s style, and the guitars are distorted and they're slow, but they're electric guitars. There's no acoustics in it. Not bad. Midnight Oil is... my note here is Working Man style. Like this is... and Working Man, the Rush song. That sort of thing they do. It pounds. And this is not a bad variation. This is not a bad song, and it's not a bad this type of song. And if this was the one song on it that was like that, that would work really well. It's probably the best of the really hard songs on it. All Falls Down, again, is another power ballad with the distorted guitar. And I called it a Nazareth style. It's the closest I could come up with was Love Hurts, with the fairly aggressive vocals and the guitar sound. But it's not... Love Hurts is the individual notes of a chord. It's arpeggiated, it's called. It's he plays the notes. And this is strummed. So it's not like Love Hurts, but that's the closest I could kind of come up with. The Gray. Now here's where we go. This is where my note just goes, it's a power rocker, ... yawn. It's just another... We've already had The Way, and Midnight Oil, and to lesser degree Sweet Tea. Sweet Tea has a bit of melody in it. So now we're into about the 4th song like this, and I've just gotten yawn. Now you're losing me. This is the 6th song in, and the album starts. This is what happens every time I listen to it, by the way. The Days They Come. Lots of rock, no roll. See the Gray. That's my note. See the Gray. So again, yawn. We're just back at it. Spit You Out. Spit You Out's interesting. It's got all the chorus coming out of the chorus. It reminds me a lot of All the Way from Memphis, and then they have a little bridge, which reminds me of Weezer's. I don't remember the name of the song. Weezer's song. They did a video from the Happy Days scene. You know, they were in Arnold's and Happy Days. That was the name of, that was the video, but I forget the name of the song. But it was Weezer, and there's a little bit in that sounds like this. So this is a song. This is a song that moves. This is what kind of Black Country Communion did better. They had a little bridgy bit. They had some different movement in the song. And Spit You Out's not a bad song. It's a rocker, but it's got some roll to it. It's got some groove to it that some of the others don't. And then we get into just a good long line of Strong, Invisible, and Scars. All of which I'm basically saying the same thing. Invisible, by the time Invisible comes, I've written, Christ, this is just pointless noise. The Grays, Days They Come, Strong, this could be the same boring song. That's my note. Christ, this could be the same pointless, this is pointless noise. For Strong, I basically said entirely forgettable rubbish. Loud, brash, and pointless. And for Scars, I just put and again. So it's just, there's a whole section of this album that's just loud and comes at you hard and aggressive, and it's a pounding on you, and it's uninteresting. It really is. And then Breathe is a ballad. It finishes off, and it's acoustic ballad. This one, they pull out the old acoustic guitar, and it's another nice song. So the ballads are good. Sweet Tea, Midnight Oil, and Spit You Out, good songs. That's 6 out of 12. But here's what I know. Having listened to it all this time, having listened to it a number of times, here's what I know to be true. I'm likely never, ever, ever going to listen to this again. It's done with. I've put it aside. I've not pulled it out for friends. We've been driving in the car. I've not gone, oh, you want to hear this? This is interesting, which I usually do when I get something like this. It's done nothing for me, and I'm not buying into this is a great album meme that I've seen out there. It's too. Imagine if Led Zeppelin 3 was all immigrant song, and you'd have kind of how I feel about this. It's, as a nice little, as a part of a whole, a song like that is fine, but half of the album is just too much, and it's unmelodic, and it's just bashing you over the head. And actually, here's what I almost wrote when I was doing the review. I wrote this and then kind of killed it, and here's what I wrote, or almost wrote in the review, I guess. The gray days they come, strong, invisible, and scars, seem intent on proving that if you use enough heavy armaments to beat a melody beyond recognition, you still have a song. And it really is like a jackhammer coming at you. All right, here is what I actually did write. Here's what the final one looks like as of now. Like I say, because I'm panning it a bit. I want to make sure I'm right. I want to make sure I like what I've said. You know what I mean? I want to be accurate. If you're going to say something's crap, I want to be accurate saying it's crap. And crap's too strong a word, by the way. But here's what I did right. The reality is, I want to like this album. I like Glenn Hughes, and as a loyal Led Zeppelin fan, I'm cheering for Jason Bonham to do well. I want to like this album, but I just can't. It has its moments where it's good, but it's far too many. It has far too many that detract from the good within. I want to like it, but I know the truth is, having reviewed it, I will probably never listen to it again. And that's where I sit on this. I can see me 3 or 4 months from now deciding to grab the album, the LP in the store, but then I'll come home, put it on, and go, oh yeah, what did I do that for? It could happen, but it has not grown on me any over the last month and a half, 2 months that I've had it. And I really think it's just going to get put away and never listened to again. So take from that what you will. Buy it if you want. Don't buy it if you don't want. I hate to be the guy who says run out and buy something and then because I like it you didn't, and I hate to be the guy. This is my opinion, but I just found it far too ponderous, far too loud at the expense of melody, and yeah. So there you go. So take from it what you will, and let me know if you do listen. I'd love to hear it. If you do happen to hear it, and it's streaming somewhere online, I think, and it is out. Lots of the songs are out there, so you get a chance to throw me some feedback. I'd like to hear if you agree with me on that. And if you don't agree with me, don't be afraid to say so. I'd like to hear why. And I was certainly mentioned on air that the different opinion. Anyway, that's it. That's it for Ramble On Radio, episode 59. Check rambleonradio.com for news in this week's podcast, Led Zeppelin news and reviews, and any links mentioned during today's podcast. I should mention next week I'm probably talking about Jason Bonham and Get the Lead Out. I seen Get the Lead Out last weekend. I might be seeing Jason Bonham this weekend. I might not, as I've mentioned. Passes are out, and I have other stuff on the go this weekend, but I'm going to be within an hour of where they're playing. So a lot of it will depend on what the people I'm with want to do. If somebody wants to go, I probably will grab a ticket. We'll probably grab tickets and go, but I might not. However, I've seen them 5 times. I kind of know their shtick, and I wanted to do a discussion about those 2 bands and tribute bands in general. So that's what's next week is coming up, and then after that we really get into the re-releases. So where am I now? Follow Ramble On Radio on Facebook, on Google Plus, and at Ramble On Blog on Twitter. You can subscribe to Ramble On Radio through iTunes. Leave a review. Drop a star, drop 3 stars, drop 5 stars. Listen on Spreaker. And be sure to follow Ramble On Radio on Spreaker. And check it out at I Am Brian Dammit on YouTube. Thank you for listening to Ramble On Radio. And I will talk to you next week.
I mean, I listen to it now and go, whoa. Switch off the internet.